Okay, welcome back to some more fun with math. In this video, we're going to look at the beginnings of how to play around and work with linear equations in two variables. So we already, to get here, would have already looked at one variable. Two variables, we now have what's called standard form. Standard form, if you notice, we are now introducing two variables, the x and the y. So standard form says ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are either the coefficients or constants of your equation. They represent the numbers, and x and y represent your variables. First things first, you need to be able to determine if an equation is linear. The way you do that is you need to find out if you can rearrange the equation into standard form. And then obviously, if yes, that equals linear. So if no, that is not linear. So we're going to start with this equation here, and the first thing we need to do is distribute your 4 across your parentheses. So this becomes 9x plus 4y minus 4x equals 3. I then have to combine my terms, so I have a 9x and a negative 4x, put them together, and this is going to give you 5x plus 4y equals 3. Since this is standard form, so in other words, yes, this is linear, because the equation was rearranged into standard form. And that's essentially all you would have to do, because all we're testing is whether or not this can actually be done. So let's look at another one. Now, the biggest thing that you have to learn about these is you cannot say judge an equation by its cover. Meaning, just because you see powers of 2, and we know the definition of linear says power of 1, you cannot rule out that this may simplify down to being a linear equation. So the first thing we have to do is we have to FOIL. So I have this x squared, I still have the minus, so I'm going to open a new parentheses, and I have to do x minus 1 times x minus 1. So this is going to end up being x and x is x squared minus a 2x plus 1, and then equals y. I have to then take this negative here, so this, and I have to distribute it through all three parts of my parenthesis. So this is going to be my x squared, then I have minus x squared plus a 2x minus 1 equals y. And if we notice, those are going to combine and go away, leaving me with 2x minus 1 equals y. If we were to rearrange, then I would take this negative 1 here and shift it over the equation, which means I'd take the y and shift it to the other side. In doing so is going to give you 2x minus y equals 1. Therefore, yes, it's linear. Now if I look down at this next one, I have a 3x plus xy equals 2y. So right off the bat, you can identify that because of the xy, so due to xy, no, this is not linear. So this equation, no matter what you were to try, would never be able to be put into standard form because of this xy in the middle. Okay. Now, another thing that we can do with our linear lines, especially now that we're in two variable, is we can do what's called graphing. So in this first case, we are going to graph purely by finding the x and y-intercepts. To find an x-intercept, you're going to set y equal to 0 and solve for x. To find the y-intercept, you're going to set x equal to 0 and solve for y. You're going to plot those 2 points and only those 2 points, and then you're going to draw a line through them connecting the dots. Okay. So I have 3y plus 2x equals -6. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to declare that I'm going to find the x-intercept. So to find an x-intercept says I have to set y equal to 0. So this becomes 3 times 0 plus 2x equals -6. 0 times anything is 0, so divide everything by 2 and we get that x is equal to -3. Now when we are talking about x and y intercepts, we are talking about the form x, 0. So we're not just looking at x equaling 3, we're looking specifically at the coordinate form. So here, when I have -3, my coordinate form would be -3, 0. And this is an intercept point, which is the x-intercept. So, for most instructors, me included, if you state an intercept is just simply x equals -3, you're wrong. It has to be written as a coordinate form. Okay. Now the other thing we have to do is the y-intercept. Y-intercept says state that x equals 0 and solve for y. So here this becomes 3y plus 2 times 0 equals -6. So obviously, again, anything times 0 is 0, divide everything by 3, and we get that y is a -2. Again, we're looking for the form 0, y. So in this case, we would have 0, -2. And this would be your y-intercept. In order to plot a coordinate, you have to have a coordinate. So here my first coordinate is at -3, 0. My second one is at 0, -2. I then need to connect the dots. And so here we would go ahead and line it up. Of course, you can always freehand it. Nothing says you would have to use a ruler. And here you go. This would be your linear line. Okay, let's look at another one. If you notice in this one, I have to do a little fun rearranging with the equation first before I can even get to it. So I have to take this negative and distribute it through. So this becomes 2x minus x minus y equals x plus 1. I'm going to combine my terms first. So this becomes x minus y equals x plus 1. I'm going to take this x and I'm going to move it. So I get negative y is equal to 1. I cannot have a negative here. So I have to take this negative and I have to move it, which means I need to divide everything by negative 1. So I end up with y equals negative 1. Now notice I still need to find my x and y-intercepts. So when I'm looking at my x-intercept, I am looking at the form x comma 0. In this case, I don't have any x values here, so my x-intercept is none. My y-intercept is the point 0 comma y. Well, I already have that, so in this case I'm looking for the point 0 comma negative 1. This is a very special case because I don't have any x's. This we're looking at is a horizontal line. So I would plot the one intercept I have, which is at negative 1, and then it is a straight line that cuts through, that runs parallel to my x-axis. Okay. Alright, let's do it one more time. Again, I need to solve for my y, so divide everything by 3 and we get that y equals 3. Do your x and y intercepts. So my x-intercept is going to be none. My y-intercept is the point 0, 3. Because this is just a y equals equation, this is a horizontal line. So go up to 3 and draw in my horizontal line. So there you have it. That is everything that you would need to know to get started in working with linear equations using two variables. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, remember to keep smiling, ask tons of questions, have lots of fun, and I'll see you next time.